The sun is the source of most of our energy here on Earth. Energy from the sun is used to produce electricity using photovoltaics and solar thermal plants. That same energy is also used for heating using solar domestic hot water systems, hydronic heating, solar air heating, and solar cooking, just to name a few. This video will talk about how the sun produces that energy. The sun produces energy using a process called fusion. Let's start our explanation of fusion with the atom.
Conduction. Conduction is the transfer of thermal energy between particles of matter that are touching. It's the transfer of thermal energy between particles of matter that are touching. Things have to touch in order for conduction to happen. So if you were to reach into an oven and grab a cookie sheet, if it was too hot, that would be conduction. You would be like burning yourself because the energy from the cookie sheet would be going into your hand. Example of thermal energy transfer is convection. Convection is the transfer of thermal energy by particles moving through a fluid. It's thermal energy transfer by particles moving through a fluid. And that fluid can be gas or liquid. I used to think that fluids were only liquids, but fluid can be gas or liquid. And so I have a question for you. When you look at this pot of boiling water, how is it that this whole pot of water actually gets to a boil when only the flame from the burner touches the very bottom of it? How does that happen? How does the whole thing start boiling? Well, the reason it starts boiling is because of convection. Convection allows the water to circulate. It creates these convection currents that heat up the entire pot. So when you heat up the water that gets heated ends up rising, and then the cold water replaces it, and it creates a convection current. Radiation. Radiation is the transfer of thermal energy by waves that can travel through air or across space. Radiation is the transfer of thermal energy by waves that can travel through air or across space. And so when you go outside and you feel the radiation from the sun hitting your face, that's radiation. You feel the same thing from a wood fire. If you feel the warmth from the fire, that's radiation, waves coming out of the fire and hitting you. And so you're not touching the fire. It's not conduction like touching. It's not fluid like a pot, sort of like flowing water through a pot. It's you feeling these electromagnetic waves flying through the air and
In passive systems, also known as thermosiphon systems, the tank sits above the collectors. Colder water sinks into the collectors, whilst warmer water rises unassisted from the collectors into the tank.
An insulator is something that isolates or protects something else, or something that prevents electricity, heat, or sound from escaping. This coat is an insulator because it is protecting me from the cold and is not allowing the heat from my body to escape. This coffee mug is an insulator because it is preventing the heat of the coffee from escaping. These flamingos' feathers are insulators because they stop their body heat from escaping.
This phenomena is known as the greenhouse effect because, like the glass in a greenhouse, the atmosphere traps some of the energy beneath it. The greenhouse effect produces a warmer climate on Earth than would be possible without an atmosphere. In summary, water vapor and carbon dioxide allow solar energy to penetrate Earth's atmosphere but prevent much of the long-wave radiation emitted by the surface of the Earth from escaping to space. This trapping of long-wave energy is called the greenhouse effect and enhances the surface temperature of the Earth.
Well, heat can be either reflected or absorbed, just like light.
I don't get it.
I'd better show a demo. Fred, could you turn on the laboratory sun lamp, please?
Okay.
Hey, the temperature's going up.
Now, do you know why?
Because the sun lamp is very hot.
Well, that's right. But look, the thermometer with the black shirt is heating up faster.
So that explains why Mr. Richmond was very hot and felt faint.
That's right.
Just because of the shirt color?
That's correct. The black absorbed a lot of the heat while the white reflected it. Do you know why a white shirt like this looks white to us?
Because it's white?
No.
How could I have missed that one?
It looks white because it is made in such a way as to reflect light and heat. The white color you see is actually reflected light and heat coming off the cloth.
But the black cloth of this shirt is not reflecting any light or heat, is it?
No, ma'am, it isn't. It's sucking the heat and light in and trapping it, getting hotter and hotter.
Thank you, Professor Parsons. Experiences under the hot sun.
Yes, indeed. First, let's talk about the heat, since that's really what this case is all about. Now, believe it or not, heat is a form of light.
What?
Here, Mr. Savage, take this flashlight and shine it at this mirror.
I can't see.
And why not?
Because the light is reflecting back into my eyes.
That's right. Now, the important word here is reflecting. Because now, Mr. Savage, I want you to shine the light at this old piece of wood. Okay, good. Now what's happening?
I'm still having trouble seeing.
Very good, Mr. Savage. So where does the light go?
Some of it gets absorbed in the wood.
Absorbed into the wood?
That's right. The light gets absorbed right into the wood.
You mean like a sponge?
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that.
But what is this